Um, so just like the spirits that you were channeling, like I was feeling very cold.
Yeah,
I'm still feeling very cold, especially in my legs,
yeah,
and very like shaky and tense a lot of
yeah,
today.
yeah.
And I've been doing my best to open up to my emotions
Yeah, as we
more.
talked about yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I'm spending time doing that.
Yeah.
And
But you're very frightened. Similar level of fear to these guys.
yeah, and
Yeah.
and I'm also wondering, is there a spirit effect on me in that regard, or is it just my own fear?
Well, it's more, you are attracting some spirits who have the same level of fear, but it's not like an overcloaking or you're quite aware. When you were in your denial of it, when you were doing drugs and other things like that,
Mhm.
that was when you were having more severe influences upon you. Now that you've had this sort of feeling of, I want to become aware, I want to wake up to my problems. Since you've had that feeling, a lot of spirits, once you have that feeling, go away. When that feeling is sincere, they just sort of leave because they don't want some moral prude.
That's me.
Yeah, which is how they sort of see you afterwards. Like, it's sort of like, while you were on drugs, well, that's great. Let's go for that. But when you become this moral prude that now, oh, I'm not going to do that anymore, they go, oh, we're not going to get any fun anymore. What's going on? So they're off.
Hmm.
And so the only spirits that are around you at this time are more spirits that are in commiseration with you having to feel your feelings. So in other words, they agree you shouldn't have to,
Yeah.
and they're just as frightened as you are about feeling them. So, but they're not malicious. They're not trying to have power over you, or they just have this feeling like you have, and therefore feel a depth of camaraderie with you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so the physical pain that ramps up is just me clenching the feelings down
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. You'll find with fear, the more you avoid it, the more you'll get pains in your legs, generally firstly, and then the pain will rise up in your body. If you keep on avoiding, keep suppressing, it'll eventually go through all your bowel and your stomach and in the solar plexus and everything. And if you allow it to get hold of you, it can change the way you speak and your heart opening to love and all sorts of things afterwards. So yeah, there's a lot of physical things that happen when a person's in quite deep fear about emotion in particular.
Should I just ignore that pain and just
No,
go for emotion?
never ignore your pain.
So feel it completely and
Yeah.
try to bring
You
the
want
emotion.
to, yeah, you don't want to suppress your pain. Don't take drugs to suppress your pain, whether they're medical or self-administered plant medicine, as people call it. Don't do any of that to suppress your pain because if you suppress your pain physically on top of suppressing your pain emotionally, you are going to get a disease, guaranteed, that will kill you in the end, right? So you want to make sure that you stay open to your pain emotionally, at least to physical pain. You want to stay open to that emotionally. So when you're in physical pain, let yourself cry.
Yeah.
And then allow yourself to also feel the fear you're in and let yourself have your tears and sorrow about that as well. But you definitely do not want to avoid your physical pain. Your physical pain is an expression of your body's symptom that the emotional pain is being suppressed. And if you then suppress your physical pain, that's when disease happens.
Mm.
So the reality is you can be in physical pain for a long time without getting disease, as long as you stay open to your physical pain. You follow? But if you suppress emotional pain and physical pain, you are definitely going to get a disease, for sure. But there are some emotions that if you suppress that, you will also get a disease. So an example of that are the emotions that cause cancer. They're all about suppression of different types of pain and using addictive methods to get out of that pain. And the emotional pain I'm talking about. And that will always cause a disease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say all diseases cause
Yeah,
like
all
that?
disease.
Yeah.
All disease. And the worst thing you can do is the purpose of the physical pain is to make you aware of the emotional one, right? So by the time you've got a physical pain, you're already suppressing the emotional one. You follow?
Yes.
So the purpose of the physical pain is to allow you to go, okay, I obviously have some emotions I'm suppressing, right? So to then suppress the physical pain and make out you don't have it at all, it's just going to exacerbate the problem, isn't it? It's going to make it worse. It's not going to make it better. Yeah. And nowadays, it's well known amongst the medical profession that often they medicate people up, and they end up getting more and more and more and more problems, and they medicate them more and more and more. And so by the time a person's like in their 50s or 60s, oftentimes they're taking 15 pills, and they've got to have a whole Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday thing, to keep it all in check. Like that's how much you could say almost they're literally rattling with the medication they're on in order to suppress different types of pains. Yeah.
Does that include supplements as well?
Well, it depends on the, some supplements can be helpful. So for example, if you have a shortfall in your diet of, say, I don't know, protein, then maybe a vegan protein powder of some kind as a supplement in your daily diet will help you. If you sometimes you'll feel overly stimulated in terms of your emotional processing, in the sense that you feel a bit depleted, and you might need to take some vitamin B, and so that might help you. The problem with making supplements regular is that your body then adjusts its chemistry to actually compensate for the fact that it's getting that thing regularly outside of its normal sources. Mm-hmm. And so it actually produces less of it. Mm-hmm. So, and it's well known, I think, again, in the medical profession that this happens. And so, again, you make sure if you're going to supplement with things to help you, try to do it temporarily and not permanently. Is probably the answer to that question. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.